Hello, Joanne.
Good afternoon, Sherry. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing good.
Good. There was something I was going to ask you about Trenton, and I can't remember now what it was. Oh, there's a Trenton Baptist Church there.
Yeah, that's our church.
Okay, what is the mailing address? Do you know?
Now, well, I can get it for you.
Yeah, if you would, because we had a couple join our church, and I sent the letter to their church requesting a true Trenton Baptist requesting, letter of recommendation, or how they do that. And it came back to me as undeliverable.
Did you put it like Guthrie Road or something like that, Guthrie Highway?
Hold on a minute.
That is probably an old address because everything down at that end is South Main.
I put 243 South Main Street.
243 South Main Street.
Trenton, Kentucky.
All right. After the meeting, I'll check on that.
Oh, thank you so much.
But you got the right street anyway.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it came back to me, but it was in my church. I'm the church clerk at Pembroke Baptist, and so it was in my box, and I was like, okay, I need to figure out what I did wrong.
Okay, you had Trenton Baptist Church, 243 South Main Street, Trenton, Kentucky, 42286.
Yes, ma'am. That's exactly what I had.
I'll check on it then.
Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Y'all have received several of our good members, so you're fortunate to have them.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on. It's funny because within the last 2 years, our membership looks so differently than what it did, say, 2 or 3 years ago. We've just had a kind of a turnover, a lot of new people joining the church. And, with COVID going on, I just watched the service online because I wanted to try to protect my coworkers and my family. So Sunday was, I was like, okay, now that the governor's lifted everything, I'm going to start going back. And so I was there Sunday, and we had 3 families join and we're actually going to baptize 6 people on this coming Sunday.
Right.
So that's a blessing, but I'm like, I need to get to know these people.
Well, I'm looking up the address right now to see if that was any different.
Okay.
What you had. Okay, I'll tell you what, they have a P.O. box.
Okay.
So try it this way.
Okay.
It's P.O. Box 191.
Okay, that'll probably do it.
Yeah, because when you said the address, I'm not thinking, well, inside town, a lot of the inside the city limits, they don't have mailboxes. We get everything at the P.O. box.
Gotcha.
So that's what it is, 191.
All right, I've got it. Thank you so much. I appreciate your help.
And I would think that whoever resent that to you, it must not have been our local postmaster. If she has a sub and they don't have the right address, they will send them back.
Right. Yeah. I got you. Who is your church clerk?
I think after Carol left, they chose Penny Johnson.
Okay. Okay. Just curious. All right.
Well, now I'm just saying that I'm not for certain now. I think she did the treasure part, and I'm assuming that the church treasurer and the secretary would be the same. So, but I'm not sure about that.
Okay. Well, I can just put it to attention church clerk. That's okay.
Yeah. Well, you'll get it at that P.O. box, I'm sure.
Gotcha. Thank you so much. I really do appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Joanne, I'm sad.
Well, I'm sorry.
I'm sad.
I did know that, Joanne.
Yeah, it was a shocker, but that's okay. I understand his thinking.
I do too.
Do you, I've got my booklet. Do you want me to pass it on to her? You know, the training booklet?
No, we'll do a new one.
Okay.
So no, you just you just keep that. You never know when you might need to pull some information out of it these days now.
Well, I learned a lot on that. I didn't realize I wasn't a voting member while I was mayor. That after I, got out being mayor, that's when I officially was a voting member. So I didn't know that while I was still a city official, I was just like an advisory.
Yeah.
So,
That's the way our bylaws are set up. So
right. So, I guess that'd be one less person voting then, or count a vote.
well, she'll be able to, once you're appointed as a, quote, citizen member, even though you were the, you were the mayor, I think at the time. You were the mayor when you were appointed as a citizen member, weren't
I
you?
was, but you changed your bylaws that I wasn't allowed to vote because I was elected official.
No, you're still able to vote as long as you were appointed as a city as a citizen member. You were actually
well,
allowed
that's
to
good.
I see somebody at the camper.
Yep, and I'm enjoying every minute of it.
Well, hope you got the air running inside.
Well, I got the air running outside too.
I got you. I see it. Yeah.
I knew that there was going to be a lot of hot air on this meeting, so
Watch out. Watch out now. Judge Tribble's just getting on. He probably didn't hear what you said about him, Mayor.
Oh, wait, I didn't hear it. Let's hear it again.
I'm sorry, I got a bad connection.
Was it that bad? Dang.
It was something to the effect, Judge, that he had to get the air conditioner turned up because he knew you'd have a lot of hot air on here today.
Oh, I thought he was talking about our people at the courthouse that are closing at noon because there's hot air in there. Our clerk's been closing at noon because the air conditioning's out, and people are raising 40 kinds of heck about it, man, because, our constituents said, hell, he's your clerk. You're electing him. I'm just your county judge. I said, if I was your clerk, we'd be open. We wouldn't be closing because it's hot. Oh, well.
Are they having to are they going to have to replace
the? They are. They're doing it right now. It should be ready by the middle of the week. They're working as we speak. And but anyway, but yes, when I'm on here, there is hot air. You're correct. I agree.
It never fails for something like that to happen when it's the hottest time of the year,
right.
Or the heat goes out in the coldest time of the year.
That's right.
It's just the way
it works. That's right. Okay, well, I'm gonna mute myself here, but I'm available to do my nominating committee report when the proper time comes.
We'll be calling on you shortly.
All right, that's a good deal.
I see our good friends from Crittenden County have made it.
Yes, sir. We were afraid you were waiting on us. We had the volume turned down.
We still have a couple of minutes, and the congressman should be joining us momentarily.
I say he's been in the news quite a bit, Congressman Comer. I see him on television.
Yep. Bart, you doing all right today?
Yes, sir. Y'all?
Yeah, doing great. I'm glad this is our last fully virtual meeting.
Jason, you need to address him as Ambassador Fraser.
No.
He's the ambassador for Crittenden County.
Ambassador Fraser. I
That's
like
right.
it.
We don't have much to show for it.
No. I think
Roger, you're sitting,
As he
Roger,
says,
you're
sitting
sitting
right
awfully close to say something like that.
It's a lot of warmth here.
Judge Jewel back.
Hello to my friends from Crittenden.
Oh, Judge,
Good to see all of you.
good to be seen.
Ain't that the truth? Without a mask even.
Yeah.
Although I think Bart looked better with a mask.
That's what
I
his
said,
wife said too.
I said that first before he said it to me. I know
Nah, they passed an ordinance here in the city. I have to wear one when I go out of the office.
Oh, is that right? All right.
They say it's BDM. Bart don't matter.
Hey, Bart, nobody gives you any respect, do they?
None.
I hate that. And now you have a hard way to go on that nominating committee too, don't you?
Speak up and your screen just, you have to keep looking.
Congressman Comer, good afternoon. Good to see you.
Good afternoon. How are you?
We're doing fine. Sure do appreciate you joining us today.
My pleasure. I'm in DC, so
Well, it's probably nice to get a moment virtually away from DC for a
That's
moment,
right.
right?
that's right. Well, I've been in Kentucky for the last 3 weeks, so it was getting time to come back.
I got you. I got you. Mr. Chairman, I believe we are we're ready to get started if you are. I'll say this before we get started. If you haven't seen it in the chat box, you will find a link to our virtual online board agenda. So if you haven't had an opportunity to pull that up just yet, go ahead and click on the link that's there in the chat box.
Thank you, Jason. Appreciate it. And I appreciate everybody being with us today for what Jason has already mentioned as our last fully virtual meeting. Thank goodness. But we'll get through this one and move forward from here, obviously. But we'll start our meeting out today with our Pledge of Allegiance led by Mr. Lee Wilson of Lyon County. And then that will be followed by our invocation by Mayor Cotton of Madisonville. So I think Sherry has a flag to display for us. And Lee, if you would lead us in our pledge.
Absolutely. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Liberty, justice for all.
Bow with me, if you will. Our Heavenly Father, we thank you for this beautiful day that you've given to us. Father, we thank you for watching over and protecting us. Lord, we just ask that you give us the wisdom and the knowledge that we need as we're making the decisions for our communities to be uplifting to you. And Lord, we just ask that you watch over each of those that are unable to be with us today and continue to be with us as we move forward throughout this meeting. This meeting will be pleasing to you. In Jesus' name, amen.
All right. Thank you very much, Lee, and for Mayor Cotton for kicking our meeting off. Our first item of business is approval of our minutes from our May 10th meeting. And if everyone's had a chance to look at those, I'd entertain a motion those be approved as presented.
So moved.
Judge Alexander, motion. Thank you, sir.
Second, Judge Tribble.
Thank you, Judge Tribble. Unless I hear any opposition, the minutes will be approved as presented. Anyone opposed to that? All right. Moving on, next item of business is our financial report, and Miss Chrissy Carter. You have that?
Yeah. Yes, I do. For the May board financial, we should be at 91.67% to be in line with the budget. Overall, we're at 76.86 of the administrative budget as of 5/31/21. And all line items are currently within budget.
Thank you. Do I have a motion to approve the financial report as presented?
Motion to
So
approve.
moved.
Second.
All right. All right, we got a second by Mayor Cotton. Who made the motion? I'm sorry.
I did. Scott Marshall.
Oh, okay. Thank you, Scott. All right. Any questions or comments? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, like sign. All right, next is our guest speaker. And as Jason alluded earlier, we're pleased to have Congressman Comer join us today from his office there in Washington, D.C. Congressman Comer has represented Kentucky's 1st Congressional District since 2016. He covers 35 counties in Western and South Central Kentucky. Currently serving as the Republican leader of the House on Oversight and Reform Committee, where he aggressively advocates for reducing waste, fraud, and abuse in government, which obviously is a huge undertaking. We appreciate that. Congressman Comer is a farmer and businessman by trade. Congressman Comer served prior to being elected as our congressman. He was 6-term state's representative and also the ag commissioner for the state of Kentucky. I know he's no stranger to us, and we certainly appreciate you being with us today, Congressman Comer.
Well, thank you very much. It's good to see a lot of friendly faces on here. I'm sorry I'm not with you all in person right now, but I was in the Pennyrile area quite a bit over the last 3 weeks. We've had a 3-week recess, so got to travel around, and really the first full travel schedule I've had since the pandemic started, and looking forward to next time we're off in August, seeing we'll go by and see the rest of the counties that we didn't get to the first time around, and listen, and always try to stop in and say hi to the judges and mayors and fiscal courts, and just appreciate everything that you all do. On the Washington front, I'll start. If anybody, I'll say talk for a few minutes. If anybody has any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer them. But you know, obviously you all are about to get a lot of money coming down from Washington. I think part of the problem that we're having right now in our daily lives is because of all this money that's being printed, we're starting to see massive inflation. Everything that you're going to buy in the grocery store, everything at the gas pump, rent, you know, your raw materials, if you're on a business, everything's going to start going up, and it's been going up, and it's unfortunately going to continue to go up. But having said that, you're going to have an opportunity to make some investments, some once in a lifetime investments. And if there's anything that my office can do to help you all in making the decision on how to invest that money, don't hesitate to give us a call. Next problem I wanted to mention is I hear loud and clear from every employer in not just my congressional district and not just the Pennyrile area, but all over Kentucky and all over America right now, that their biggest problem is trying to find workers. And you see policies in Washington, honestly, for the last, year that have incentivized people to not work. They've extended unemployment, enhanced unemployment. I know in Frankfurt, they've still never got unemployment right. There's no excuse for taking this long to get caught up with unemployment. But on the federal level, the fact that we've had extended unemployment and we've been doing all these stimulus checks, it's created a situation where a lot of people just aren't working because they don't have to. And I'm trying to stop that up here. I think that we would have a very strong economy like we had prior to COVID if the government would just get out of the way. I study history, and there are different viewpoints of Franklin Delano Roosevelt and his legacy and his policies. You know, if you go to a university, a real liberal university, they'll tell you that that he saved America from the Great Depression. But if you go to a good conservative university, they'll say, no, he prolonged the Great Depression because of all these social programs and safety nets that he created. And I think that history will show that there was a lot of that took place during COVID. There was a lot of money that was spent needlessly, a lot of regulations that were more than burdensome that were put on businesses. So what my focus is now is to try to get all these unnecessary burdensome regulations lifted. You know, people like my friend Mayor Cotton in the restaurant business, I can't imagine what you all have had to go through with all these regulations on seating capacity and now trying to find workers and things like that. But, you know, I'm trying to, you know, get that lifted, and anything that our office can do to be of any help to any of the businesses in your district, don't hesitate to call, and we'll certainly do that. But we're trying to fight the good fight on conservative common sense legislation up here in Washington. Another issue that we're going to be talking about over the next 3 weeks here in Washington, and that's of huge interest to everyone on this call, is the infrastructure bill. And we're making progress on the infrastructure bill. When it was first introduced by President Biden, there wasn't a whole lot of infrastructure in there. There were a lot of social programs and things like that I don't think were had any business being an infrastructure bill. They had daycare in there, which is noble. They had fully funding preschool, which is noble and all that, but it has nothing to do with infrastructure. If we're going to invest in infrastructure, if we're doing an infrastructure bill, let it be infrastructure. And infrastructure is roads and bridges, rural broadband. That's a huge issue that I hear from every time I'm in the Pennyrile area. The waterways, you know, locks and dams and things like that. That's infrastructure. Rail is infrastructure. So we've come a long way now that we're talking about infrastructure. We've made the bill from 15% infrastructure to now about 85%, which is still not 100%, but we're definitely going in the right direction on that. Now, the next question is the price tag on it. And as I mentioned earlier, with all the inflation, you know, it's going to cost a whole lot more to resurface a mile of road today than it would have a year ago because of all the inflation. So it's just a lot of bad policy coming out of Washington right now, but there is a will among people in both parties to pass an infrastructure bill if it is infrastructure, and if it doesn't have all these crazy climate change rules on there and Green New Deal type regulations on there, I think we can get there. But you know, we're still not there. I know that's something that you all have talked about for a long time, and we're certainly going to keep fighting to see that we get an infrastructure bill. A lot of the legislation, as when I was home during the weekend, that people asked about, like a lot of gun control bills, a lot of bills that would use tax dollars to fund abortions. You had the HR 1, which changed the election laws in America to where you don't have to show a voter ID to vote and things like that. All of those bills that passed the House on a party line vote, I voted no. I'm a Republican. I voted no on all of those real liberal bills that have been in the news a lot. They haven't ever passed the Senate. And I think everyone on here knows, for a bill to become a law, it has to pass the House and the Senate, and then the president sign it into law. These bills have passed the House, but because of Joe Manchin and Sinema in Arizona and a few other Democrats, they haven't been able to pass the Senate. So a lot of people are concerned about things they think have become law because they saw it on TV. They passed the House, but as of today, they haven't passed the Senate. The only major bill that's passed both the House and the Senate and been signed into law since Joe Biden's been president has been that $1.9 trillion stimulus bill that had $350 billion for state and local governments. And you all know to the penny, I'm sure, how much each of you all are getting in your cities and counties. So that's the only major legislation that's passed. As a side note, I'm the Republican co-sponsor on a couple of the primary co-sponsor on a couple of bills. I'm working on postal reform. That's not something you'll ever see in the news, but in rural America, our post offices are pretty important. And I'm working in a bipartisan way with the Postmaster General and the chairman of my committee. I'm the ranking member, the Democrats, the chairman. We have jurisdiction over the post office. So we've been working with the rural mail carriers. We've been working with the stakeholders in the post office, and the stakeholders being companies like Amazon, companies like catalog companies, Hallmark, greeting cards, Federal Express. You know, UPS is the largest private employer in Kentucky, and they use the post office for the last mile and things like that. I tell people they use the post office to deliver packages to places like where my brother lives, where nobody would want to go, and the Pony Express wouldn't go, but the post office goes there. And we're working to try to reform the post office to where they do better. You know, it takes too long. You mail a bill in, it may take 10 days where it used to take 2 days. So we're trying to make some needed reforms there while preserving the post offices and keeping our little post offices open in these rural communities. So that's an issue I'm working on, and we're always dating back to my ag commissioner days, working with these food programs. I was a sponsor of the bill during the COVID that made the schools continue to serve meals to families that needed it during the school shutdowns and all that. I mean, we had tens of thousands of people participate in that program in our congressional district. So that was a good program that utilized the food service directors in the schools and the commodity programs, and then helped a lot of needy families in the district. And we all represent a big pocket of poverty, and we certainly want to make sure that no kid goes hungry. So just to show that I work on other things than what you see me on TV talking about, we work on postal reform. We're working on the school nutrition things to make sure that needy families have a warm meal and no kid goes hungry that's in the public school system. So those are some of the things I'm working on, and I'd love to turn it back over Perry or whoever to answer some questions if you all have any questions or comments or criticism.
Yeah, no criticisms here around this table that I'm aware of, but anyone have any questions specific for Congressman Comer? This is the trouble with virtual meeting. We can all get together, but everyone's afraid to say anything.
Well, I'll be back around, and I stopped in and saw Hollis last week, and we talked about some issues there in the Trigg County area, and we're working on some things there, working on some things with, I'll go ahead and say this. We're working very closely on all the questions that are out there about the land between the lakes issue. That's a huge issue right now. There's a lot of variations on budgets, not just in the future, but in the past, that we're trying to get to the bottom of. Wade's been very active on that issue, and Hollis, and I can tell you my oversight, I've turned this over to the oversight committee, and we're doing a little probing, and we should know something in the next couple of weeks, and we'll be more than happy to make that announcement and talk to you about that and give you all an update on that and answer any questions you may have on that moving forward. But the bottom line is both Senator McConnell and I are committed to making sure the LBL gets every penny that they're supposed to get, and their budget does not get cut any. And if anything, we can somehow find more money for LBL, and they can get back to doing what they were supposed to do. And if we have to move LBL out of the forestry service into the park service or whatever the stakeholders down there want, we're more than willing to do it. But right now, we're just trying to get the handle on some budget numbers and get some clarity, because we're just all getting different variations of what's going on down there.
Hey, Congressman, this is Judge Whitfield. I did have a question.
Yeah, who is it? Jack
Whitfield.
Judge, okay. How you doing?
Good. Hey, make sure I understood right. If we have a question concerning the ARPA money, will your office be able to help determine whether a specific project or expenditure would be an approved use for that money?
We'll do everything in our ability to try to help still,
there's a
it's
lot of
like
questions on how we can spend it.
it's like the beginning of the PPP loan program. There's not a lot of clarity there. I begged them to be more clear on how to spend that money and have more guardrails on it. I worry about a few counties, none in the Pennyrile area, but I worry about a few counties in my district on that. So yes, we'll help any way we can on that.
Yeah, we just definitely don't want to get sideways on how we spend that money and send it back.
God bless you for being concerned, because some of these judges are not, anyway.
All right, we'll be sending.
I know you'll do it
to try to
right.
get some clarification.
Yeah, we'll help any way we can.
Thank you, sir.
Congressman, this is Jason. I'll jump in here for just a minute. We very much appreciate all the support you've continued to provide for our region. And I just want to quickly go back to the original CARES Act funding that was, quite frankly, and I know you supported, a game changer for many of our programs here at PeADD.
Mm-hmm.
And really specifically the support for small businesses through the Economic Development Administration. I know that you've always been a huge supporter of EDA, and we very much appreciate that support. But I'll just gloat for just a moment, but we've been able to support and probably really say that we've been able to save over 25 small businesses here in our region in the last 12 months with that support through EDA. On the senior side, we've provided through our partner PACS nearly 330,000 home delivered meals over the past 15 months for our senior population. And then, of course, the workforce struggles. We have continued and continue to help our communities with all of those struggles that they're having with that. And as you know, it's been a tough 15 months, but the support and your leadership you've shown has definitely helped our region navigate this pandemic. So I just want to personally say thank you for your work and thank you again for joining us today.
Well, we're trying to get these burdensome regulations lifted and just trying to get and I consider what we're doing with extended unemployment probably the most anti-business policy that we've had in the 4.5 years I've been in Washington. It's the biggest problem in every industry. It doesn't matter if it's in the aluminum industry, in agriculture, in manufacturing, in logistics, trucking, whatever, restaurant. Nobody can find any workers right now, and it's pretty frustrating because we're supposed to be always focused on trying to find new businesses to locate to our area and things like that. We can't even take care of what we have right now because there's so many people not working. So yeah, no, I appreciate what you're doing to save those businesses there, and anything we can ever do to help existing businesses, we want to do that.
All right. Anyone have any final comments? Well, Congressman Comer, I just want to echo Jason's comments and tell you how much we appreciate the work you're doing and you taking time to be with us today.
My pleasure. I look forward to seeing you and Marion here before long. We'll come by and try to go to that. What's my restaurant there? The Dip. What's it called?
Oh, yeah, the 88.
Yeah. We'll go there.
That'll work. I'm sure they'll be glad to see you.
Yeah.
All right. Take care.
Thank you all.
Yes, sir. All right. We'll move on then to our federal and state reports. And Morgan Alley with Senator McConnell's office. Morgan, you with us?
Hi, Judge. Thank you. I would just echo a lot of the same sentiments that the congressman just mentioned. One of the things I was specifically gonna mention was the ARPA guidance. I know a lot of you have had further questions on that, and I've tried to forward out some of that guidance and updates as I've received it, but I know there's still a lot of outstanding questions out there regarding specific projects like Judge Whitfield just mentioned. So like Congressman Comer's office, we're also happy to try to get some further clarification if you have a specific question or a specific project that our DC office can try to get a answer from Treasury on. So feel free to email me those or give me a call if there's something specific that you want us to look into. The only other thing that I would mention, there's one specific grant that I know that has been a important program for our area in recent years, and that's the BUILD grant program through the U.S. Department of Transportation. That's now called the RAISE grant. It's the same program, but they changed the name this year. I know the deadline to apply for that grant this year is July the 12th. I'm only aware that there's one application so far, and that's Christian County in the Pennyrile area. If there's any others that I've missed, please let me know. We're happy to write letters of support on behalf of those grants. So I've just been trying to keep track of that. So if I've missed any, please, again, just call me or email me. Thanks so much.
All right, thank you, Morgan. I appreciate it. Is anyone with us with Senator McPaul's office today? I don't think Jason's with us. Anyone else? No? Okay. I believe we have Representative Chris Freeland with us. Representative Freeland, you have anything you'd like to bring before us? Maybe we lost him.
Judge, he may have.
Oh, there we are.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm driving. I've been listening. I appreciate the opportunity, and I appreciate Congressman Comer for his remarks today, and certainly agree with those. And not a ton to report right now on the state level or for our region. The joint interim committees are starting to meet this month in Frankfurt, and you'll start to see some of the legislation take place that will be coming for next year. That's the interim committees are a good indicator of what may be on tap for January. So keep an eye on that. And I think revenues are pretty good right now for the state. Things are open back up, which is great. I share the problem Congressman Comer was discussing on the finding employees. That's the number one thing I'm hearing right now from employers is, they're able to be wide open, but they're being limited in what they can offer their customers based on finding available employees to do the job. And that's a problem that has to be addressed. And I would like to see Kentucky address that. Our governor's office is solely in charge of that issue of the expanded unemployment. And I don't know where discussions are with his office on that, so I can't really comment on that. But if anybody has any questions or comments, just give me a shout, and I'll be glad to help any way I can. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Representative Freeland. I think we also have with us Representative Melinda Prenti. Representative
Yes.
Prenti, yeah, okay.
Yes, Judge, I'm here. Thank you for the opportunity. And I'm seeing what I've heard from Congressman Comer and what Representative Freeland shared. I'm still getting messages from constituents who still haven't had their unemployment insurance issues resolved. I've heard from some of these folks 3, 4, 5, 6 times. So that's still got lots of issues going on. Everywhere I drive in my district, I see signs, hiring. So, I mean, and I'm hearing that from workers, to stop that money. And, we can only urge the governor to refuse that. So recently, that might be of interest, I took a couple of guidance counselors. Madisonville Community College's new aviation program is off the ground. They have their first students. And I got to take a guidance counselor from North Hopkins and a guidance counselor from Muhlenberg to a Kentuckyans for Better Transportation event. They had a 3-day event last week, and I only got to go to one day of it, but it was Thursday. Went to the Nelson County Bardstown Airport and saw a plane that the Nelson County high school students built together. It was a build program. They had some seed money. They bought the kit. They built the plane. They're going to sell the plane. They've already sold the plane. They're going to make a profit to buy another kit. And also They're starting another phase where they're going to start teaching some of the students to be pilots. They're going to do some flying, and they've got another phase coming where they want to teach them to be mechanics. Every year, they're going to add another layer to this program. And I was trying to expose our guidance counselors from this end to that program to hopefully maybe get some ideas of how to get some excitement for aviation to our high school students and on down to middle school and elementary with the brand new simulators and everything. We've got to get these kids excited. This invitation came from Commissioner Todd Block, and he's hoping, his dream is to have aviation curriculum in all 120 counties across the Commonwealth, and but he said that education needs to take place at the airport. So anyway, I was excited to do that, and hopefully maybe we can find creative ways to provide some of that to the students here in this area of the state. And another thing personally that I'm starting, and I don't know if it is of interest to you all or not, just make you aware, there's a severe mental health task force that's being started. We're going to meet for the first time next week. I know in my district, at least in here in Greenville, Judge Jailer Nunley said there's a revolving door for some severe mental health patients that they do crazy things. The law enforcement picks them up. The only place they can bring them to the jail, and they just kind of keep going in and out. And he didn't have the resource to address that. So I'm trying to get some of my folks up to Frankfurt to testify on those issues. So if any of y'all have issues like that, and if you need people that need to speak on that issue, and then also those who are providing services to those folks, getting payment for Medicaid and that sort of thing. Those are the kind of issues the task force is going to be looking at. So if anybody has any information they want to pass on to me, or have people that from this area that need to testify before that committee task force, let me know. And I appreciate the opportunity again.
Mr. Chairman, I think you all are muted. While he's getting that fixed, Elton, I think Elton Thomas, I believe you're on here. Elton, you want to say a few words?
Okay. Yeah, glad you have me. Glad to see everybody smiling faces. You're already tracking that a lot of restrictions have been lifted, so the businesses can get back on and get the economy back up and going. We're going to see some rebounding there. You already saw the 2021 Prosperity Cup placement, showing that Kentucky is really poised for economic, some move for the economy to start waking back up. And you also try to understand COVID is still a threat, still out there, it hasn't went anywhere, but we're no longer in a crisis. Good job for all the leaders out there who made these things possible. Thank you, Ms. Prunty, talking about the aviation. We all know, hey, I'm an air assault guy, so that's a big thing. If you can get that curriculum up and going. The budget, the military budget for aviation eats up a lot of that. It's roughly about 30%. It's a long school, but we got the ability to do it. So get some students in there so they can learn how to fly, but it's not just about flying. You got mechanic positions, you got positions on gas, all those things are keeping that bird in the air. You're starting to see some infrastructure grants come down the way. Well, the money's, especially in water and bridges. So you should be getting a phone call from me soon. If you have, you know, that's normally, hey, that's free chicken. So meaning it's some good news. But as I said, glad to see everybody again. And that's all I have, Mr. Chair.
All right. Thank you, Elton. Thank you, Jason, for bailing us out while we got our technical difficulties worked through.
I've been
We will then move on to our reports, unless we've had Denitra Henderson or Doug Taylor join in recently. Jason, Doug, no? Okay. We'll move on then to our reports, and our first report is our Area Agency on Aging and Independent Living by Jill Collins. Jill.
Yes, good afternoon and thank you. First thing I want to touch on this afternoon is regarding the reopening of our senior centers. As you know, those have been closed since about March 16th of 2020. And so we did release a joint press release on June the 3rd, came out from Pennyrile Area Development District and our provider, Pennyrile Allied Community Services. And we are planning to reopen the senior centers in the Pennyrile on July 1. We do have some planning that we are working on that will take place between now and July 1, and that will include the reopening of all 9 of our senior centers, along with 1 satellite meal site that is located in Dawson Springs. And that reopening, of course, will follow CDC and any state or local guidelines. And so we will be releasing more information on that as that becomes available, but we are looking forward to that and excited for that reopening. We have also made the decision to continue the curbside meals through July. Even though our congregate meal sites will be open, we will continue those curbside pickups through July and then reevaluate at that point. In your packet, you will also find some numbers related to our COVID meals that we have served. We have had a very strong focus on our COVID nutrition program during the pandemic. And as of the end of May, we've been able to provide 332,000 meals. That includes home delivered and curbside pickup. Also in your packet, you'll see some information regarding our Medicaid waiver program, our home and community-based waiver program. Currently, we are serving 239 clients who are active in the program, and we have 87 that are in the process of their application and getting the information turned in that is required for them to become an active member on the program. But one other important piece of information that I wanted to point out is regarding our electronic visit verification software. If you remember back, I guess a couple of months ago, the Department for Medicaid Services made the decision to kind of put a hold on the use of that software to give the developers some time to work out some of those issues. And here in the Pennyrile, we just continue to move forward with using that software. So I'm happy to report that we are 100% compliant and operational within that software system since April. And they did release some dates last week with some staggered dates of implementation, with 100% operational date being January of 2022. So we are in good shape here in Pennyrile with the use of the electronic visit verification system. Also, just want to direct your attention in your packet to the wait list. As always, that is broken down by county, by service. And so if you have any questions regarding that, I'll be happy to answer that. And then the last thing in your packet is just to reference some federal legislation updates, and that can be reviewed on your time when you have the opportunity to look at that. So if anyone has any questions regarding any of the information that I have provided, I'll be happy to answer that for you. And thank you for your time this afternoon.
Thank you, Jill. Anybody have any questions for Jill before we move on? All right, there being none, we'll move on then to our community and economic development update. And that's being brought to us by Amy Krogh and Craig Morris. I don't know which one of you want to go first, but I'll let you all handle that, if you would, please.
Thank you, Judge. Just a couple of items that I wanted to bring to your all's attention this afternoon. The first item I have is our monthly intergovernmental review report. If you all will see there attached to the board agenda, we had 4 projects that were submitted this month for review. As you read through those, these projects were primarily recreational based projects, with the application periods for the recreational trails program and the land and water conservation fund program ending on May the 30th. So that's why we had an increase in those submissions this month. These projects have been sent out to our board members in those respective counties for review and comment, and have all come back with favorable reviews. Also, in the newsletter, I just want to bring to your attention some of the activities that are going on in the Community and Economic Development Department, and specifically the availability of HMGP or Hazard Mitigation Grant Program funding due to the disaster declarations from the flooding that occurred a couple of months ago in 2021. If you all do have projects that you would be interested in, such as tornado shelters, flood mitigation projects, early warning sirens, anything like that, please get in touch with one of our staff members. Those applications will be due on July the 16th through the online CHAMPS program. So we'll be glad to help you out there. Just a few other updates. As Jason mentioned in his comments earlier, to date, we have made 25 loans through our COVID business relief program, impacting over 269 jobs in our region. We do have about $70,000 left in that fund. So we would like to get those remaining funds on the street to assist some additional small businesses. And if we do see the need for additional business assistance, we will be glad to revisit some additional funding with the Economic Development Administration should that be needed. Over the last few weeks, our staff have been reaching out to our cities and counties for assistance with your paperwork and registration to access your American Rescue Plan funding. As you all know, U.S. Treasury has issued some guidance regarding how these funds can be utilized, including some expenditures revolving around water, sewer, and broadband. As Judge Whitfield alluded to earlier, there's still lots of questions floating out there. Their guidance is very broad and it leaves it open to interpretation, which can be good in some realms, but 3 or 4 or 5 years down the road when we're turning around having to audit these projects, that may not be the case. So if you continue to have questions or concerns regarding these funds as they are deposited in your accounts, feel free to reach out to us. If we don't know the answer, we will do our best to try to get an answer for you. In addition to the direct allocations for cities and counties, the state, as you all are aware, has also set aside some of their American Rescue Plan funding for similar infrastructure projects. They have set aside $150 million for each county based on population for water and wastewater infrastructure projects. Kyle's been talking about that at our Water Management Council meetings, and you all have probably received some information from us on those funds as well. The Kentucky Infrastructure Authority has asked each county to come together with their water and wastewater systems to decide on what projects these funds are going to be allocated to. Again, Kyle's been working with our systems and our engineers over the last several months in anticipation of receiving these funds, putting together project profiles for you all based on the needs that have been identified. KIA has asked that we assist you all in making these allocations by June the 30th. So that deadline is coming up pretty quick. So over the course of the next couple of weeks, Kyle and some of us will be coordinating meetings similar to our annual county ranking meetings to determine where these project funds are going to go towards. From those American Rescue Plan funds, remaining $49.9 million will be set aside to supplement any funding gap for those projects, and those will be available by application in addition to those county allocations. And then there's an additional $50 million aside from those two pots of money that will be available for water line extensions. And those extensions are primarily to serve unserved individuals that currently do not have drinking water available to them. Again, KIA will be looking for these project applications around the August 1st timeframe. There's still lots of questions floating around out there about these funds. KIA has done a pretty good job of passing along information as they receive it, but as we've referenced before in these new pots of money that are being received by the federal and state government, we're building the plane as we fly it. So just keep your eyes and ears open for about those funds. KIA does want a consensus of all parties from each county to agree on the projects that these funds are going to. Just something to keep in mind as you are looking at these projects. Federal wage rates will apply to those water and wastewater projects. The Buy American clause, which was required back in the 2008-2009 stimulus funding, the Buy American clause will not be a part of the ARP funding requirements. So as that guidance is continued to be passed down to us, we will try to do our best to pass it along to you all so you have all the information you need to make those decisions. And then lastly, broadband. Everyone's talking about broadband these days, and there's lots of money floating around out there for broadband projects. I know a lot of you all are looking at your ARPA funds to implement some broadband projects on a regional basis or countywide basis. There's also some money available through the state under House Bill 320 that the legislature set aside this year for unserved or underserved areas. KIA will be administering those funds as well as the other American Rescue Plan funds for water and wastewater projects. And it's our understanding that an RFI, or request for information, will be coming out from KIA over the course of the next couple of weeks for providers to submit information to hopefully access some of those funds on your all's behalf. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. If we don't know the answers, we'll do our best to find you an answer. Do I have any questions for you all, from you all? All right.
All right. Thank you, Amy. Anybody have any questions before we move on? Okay, there being none, we'll move on then to our workforce development update, and Ms. Sheila Clark.
Good afternoon, everyone. I wanted to just run over a few items. We had a board meeting last week, and if some of you all were tuned in for that, I know that you had some updates that came then. We mentioned the RFP process that we've had going. The proposal awards went through a review process, and I'd like to thank Judge Newcomb and Judge Tribble, along with others that helped us on that review panel with those proposals. We had only one proposal submitted for WIOA Direct Services, and that has been awarded to the Purchase Area Development District, which was the proposing entity there. We had a one-stop operator for our Career Center system proposal that came in. We had two of those proposals, one from the Purchase Area Development District and one from Hightower and Associates. The Purchase Area Development District was awarded that proposal. I might also mention that, like many of the other discussions we've had, our Career Center system is going to see more guests as it reopens. In the Career Center system that we have, unemployment insurance is in that system, but they're operating their unemployment assistance through a sign-up appointment process where you have to go online or make a call in order to get an appointment. And they're running that separately. We don't even have the phones back in our hands in the Career Centers right now. Unemployment insurance has those phones. Of course, the West Kentucky Workforce Board and its staff does not operate UI programs. We don't have anything to do with that. But that is going on in the Career Center system. Those appointments open up about 9 o'clock each day. And if you're hearing from people that are trying to make appointments, we're told that those appointments are gone within 5 minutes or less. So if someone needs that appointment, they need to be sitting on the computer, just like they were buying concert tickets with the same enthusiasm to go after that UI appointment. One of the things that we are seeing there is overall in the data, we're seeing unemployment insurance claim make a slow decline. We're seeing fraud cases dropping tremendously, and that was taking a lot of time of the state staff and the labor cabinet trying to make those issues go away. And we will be seeing other partners besides UI. We'll be seeing individuals by appointment as they come into the center. Another need that we've also had identified in our centers is the need for computer assistance, computer usage. They need a reliable connection on a computer while they're trying to make appointments, trying to fill out resumes, trying to fill out applications, and then they want to print it out so they'll have a copy of what they submitted. So we're going to open up our resource rooms. They can reserve a computer. We have a limited number of computers, and of course, unemployment insurance is using those computers as well as all the partners. So that's something that we have asked if there's any of the different pots of monies at the state level that Amy and others have referred to. We've asked if we could have a small amount of dollars to put in some additional computers or new and faster computers. We don't know how that's going to go, but we thought we'd ask. We also have several of our job fair events going on. We've had some success with some of those. There is one plan for June the 17th, a large regional event that will be held at the convention center here in Hopkinsville. Currently, we're talking about 80 plus employers. I think that limit's going to be close to 85 that can fit inside the convention center, because we are putting some distance there, trying to make people comfortable in their attending. We're have over 2,000 employees and job offerings there that would be available should people find that they're interested in those jobs. And we also will have a resource area where the people can go immediately and fill out an application or get another copy of their resume to hand off, or maybe they don't even have a resume. And so we're suggesting to people to come ready to be interviewed, because interviews will be occurring, and to present themselves and their resume. If they don't have a good one, well, we can also help them kind of update their resume and maybe make some good points that might get attention to their skills for the employer. We have the city of Hopkinsville gave us some gift cards. We have some of the companies there that will be giving away gifts for registration or hourly at their booths, and we'll be announcing that. We don't want to give a party and have nobody come. And so our concern is trying to make sure that the public knows about it. One of our partners, besides economic development agencies, is the News Edge Group, WKDZ, and all those affiliate stations are helping us on this. And that's been a great partner to have. And we certainly appreciate Beth Mann and her support with us in that, and our economic development partners and City of Hopkinsville and others there. Molly, I know that you're on the call. We've had word of the expo in Madisonville going really well. Would you like to tell us about that, Molly?
Sure. Can you all hear me okay?
We can.
Okay, great. So the Hopkins County Job Expo was held last week on the 8th. Our planning committee went round and round this year trying to figure out if we should hold an event, if we should do it virtually. And we finally just decided, we needed to go for it and help our employers and help the job seekers in our area. So we planned out and marketed the June 8th event in 6 weeks, which is the quickest turnaround we've ever had in planning one of these events. We actually restricted the number of employers and agencies who signed up to make sure we could space everyone out safely and appropriately. And so our final number was 53. And as a committee, we were honestly a bit sick to our stomachs thinking about the job seeker turnout, but I'm happy to report that we had approximately 350 job seekers show up on Tuesday between 10 and 2, and they were actively searching for employment opportunities. I scanned the job seeker registrations and I noticed we had folks drive in from Nashville, Clarksville, Newburgh, Indiana, and of course we had people from our surrounding counties attend. I spoke to an employer who attended the event and he said because we had employers spread out between 2 rooms at the Ballard Center in Madisonville, and we'd actually mapped out a flow for the job seekers to follow, that gave employers enough time between people to have really good, meaningful conversations with each job seeker at their booth. And then interviews were actually held on this spot as well. We had one employer who was from Evansville that said this was the best job fair that they had actually been to in the Indiana, Illinois, Kentucky's tri-state area. So we were thrilled to hear that. We'll be sending out surveys to the employers in about 2 weeks to get employment stats as a result of the event, but we were very pleased with how well it was attended. We had around 1,200 positions represented. And while some of that is due to issues with COVID, I do want to point out that a large amount of the positions are available due to recent employer expansions. We've had a number of employers in the area who continue to thrive during COVID and recently expanded their lines and opened up additional positions as a result of that. And then I did want to mention too, I've invited Ann Fugit to Madisonville this Friday, the 18th. Some of you may remember Dwayne Sumas. He was the Fort Campbell Transition Services Manager, and so Ann has taken on that role. She's going to come to Madisonville for the day, have lunch with our local county and city officials, Mayor Cotton and Judge Whitfield, and we'll be able to do a quick tour of some of our local business and industry. So we're very excited about that. That's all I had, Sheila. Thank you.
Thank you, Molly. We're hoping to, as we go through the various job fairs, with the one in Paducah we're planning at the convention center, as well as the one in Murray, that we do a little finessing of these and maybe we'll get better at each one of them. But we're hoping for a big crowd. We don't want to, as I said, we don't want to give a party and nobody come. So we're looking forward to that, and that the next one will be on Thursday of this week. We're also hoping that employers that are large employers that are having to reach out, they can kind of look at these that are coming up. We're trying to space them out where they can attend those and try to reach out to potential employees through those events. Mr. Chairman, I think that gives you the latest updates, unless you all have some questions. So thank you. Mr. Chairman, I think you're on mute again.
There you go.
There you go.
I was having mouse problems that time. Appreciate it, Sheila. Does anybody have any questions before we move on from Sheila? All right. Thank you, Sheila and Molly, for your reports. We'll move on then to new business. And first item is our monthly Code of Ethics report. And we've had no issues with the Code of Ethics policy. So we'll move right on then to our PeADD nominating committee report, and Judge Tribble, who's our nominating committee chair. You still with us, Judge? Sure, did we lose Judge Tribble?
He's still here. You're just on mute, Judge.
Well,
there you go.
Well, I hit unmute. It says the host muted me. So, hell, man, come on, Jason. You muted me. I was trying to unmute. All right. Well, I'm going to give the nominating committee report. How it works for our members, citizen members serving on the Pennyrile Area Development District Board of Directors are nominated by the various county judges or mayors. They serve 3-year terms. The nominating committee is appointed to review the list of names provided for board members whose terms are expiring. Nominating committee currently consists of Bart Fraser, a citizen member from Crittenden County, and Mayor Jan Yance, mayor of the city of Greenville, and then myself. As a member of the nominating committee, I present the following slate of candidates to serve 3-year terms on the Board of Directors at Pennyrile Area Development District, beginning July the 1st, 2021. So from Caldwell County, I have 2 new appointments, actually. First one will be David Williams. He's retired state manager for Woodman of the World and the former mayor of the city of Fredonia. And then the next new appointment from Caldwell County would be Jim Seibert, and he is the mayor presently of the city of Fredonia. So that we've got 2 Fredonia mayors being nominated. Now we go to Christian County. We got 1 reappointment. That would be Lori Harper. She's, of course, is vice president of the West Kentucky office for Rogers Group Incorporated, and has served on the PeADD board since July of 2009. Then we have a new appointment from Christian County, Nikki Durham. She's the CAO administrative coordinator for the city of Hopkinsville. And we go to Crittenden County, and we have a new appointment, Roger Simpson, retired. I thought he was already on the board.
He is.
Well,
He
this says new appointment. I believe he's on there. I just saw him. I just spoke to him. But anyway, Roger, let's call that one a reappointment. But Roger is a retired airline pilot, Vietnam veteran. He's a part-time farmer. He's been on the PeADD board since May 2016. Then we have from Todd County, we have a reappointment, Scott Marshall, past board chairman, former mayor of the city of Guthrie. He served on the PeADD board since July of 2012. So, and then we have 1 new appointment from Todd County, which would be Martha Jo Ray, who's the present mayor of the city of Trenton. So, Mr. Chairman, I move that the recommendation of the nominating committee be accepted.
All right, got a motion. Do I have a second?
Second, Arthur Green.
All right, thank you, Mayor. If anyone is opposed to the acceptance of the nominating committee report as presented and moved, please state so now. Hearing no opposition, the motion will be approved as made and as presented. Thank you, Judge Stribble. All right, we'll move on then to next item of business, and that's our PeADD member recognitions. And it's my honor to recognize board members who have reached significant milestones in their service to the Pennyrile Area Development District. We'll start out with recognizing for 5 years. And I think Sherry, you got some pictures there to share of it?
I do.
Okay. I'll hold it. All right, there we go. And we also have Mr. Roger Simpson, who is a citizen member for Crittenden County, who served for the past 5 years. Mr. Terry Stringer, a citizen representative for Livingston County, who served the board for the past 5 years. And then we have Judge Wade White of Lyon County, who served for 10 years. And that other guy there that's listed, myself, I've also had the privilege of serving for 10 years, and I certainly appreciate each and every one of you for your service to the board and continuing to serve as we move forward. Next, I would like to express appreciation and recognition for 4 outgoing board members for their service to the Area Development District Board of Directors. Charles Nicky Baker was a citizen representative for Caldwell County, former state representative from Princeton, had been serving as a citizen representative for the city of Princeton, Mr. Mike Cherry. And then we have Joanne Holder, a citizen member for Todd County, and Reverend Buddy Slaughter, a citizen member for representing Christian County. So we certainly thank those 4 individuals for their time spent in serving the Pennyrile Area Development District, and thank each and every one of you for your dedication and service. So Jason, you want to take over for the staff service awards?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. As you all know, we recognize our staff throughout the year when they meet various milestones of service. But I also wanted to just take a moment today as part of our annual meeting to recognize all of them once more. This year, we have one staff member completing 10 years of service, and that's Cindy Tabor, our long-term care ombudsman. We have one staff member completing 15 years of service, and that's Amanda Stokes in our aging department, our aging planner, and our in-home services manager. And then finally, we have 5 members completing 20 years of service, and that's Julie Allen, our workforce programs coordinator, Angela Gore in our aging administrative assistant, Marianne Medlock, workforce business liaison, Alicia Sutton, our administrative officer, and then Tammy Hyde, workforce training and data specialist. And Tammy's actually celebrating her anniversary this month, and you'll find more information about her in our newsletter. So just wanted to say congratulations to each of them, and thank each of them for all the work that they do on a daily basis here in the Pennyrile region.
Jason, I know I've always said it for probably as long as I've been associated with the board, but I think we've got the best development district in the state, the best ad office, and to achieve that, you've got to have great people. And thankfully, our organization has always been able to achieve that. And thank each and every one of you, especially for this past year. I don't know how y'all done a magnificent job of holding things together and keeping things moving for us. And appreciate that. With that being said, we'll move on into our director's report. And Jason, you have a few comments, I think.
I do, and thank you for those kind words, Mr. Chairman. I'll be very brief, as we've already covered a lot of ground today, but it is hard, as it's already been mentioned, that we're about to close out fiscal year 2021. You know, in some respects, it's been an extremely long year. In other areas, it's been pretty much a blur. And I'm sure many of you feel the same way, but I will say this, and I hope that each and every one of you on this call feels the same way. I can't be more proud of our organization and the people that work here at PeADD. I don't know how many times over the last 15 months I've said that we've got to pivot or that we've got to remain flexible. And I'll say this, not one time has any of our staff members ever questioned our role with the pandemic, our direction in serving the region during this pandemic, and so very proud of them. You know, it's been a tough ride. It's been an exciting ride, but we definitely look forward to what FY 2022 brings. I also appreciate all of our board members' leadership throughout this difficult time. You've been there for us, allowed me to run ideas, policies, questions past you all at various times, and your steady leadership has definitely been invaluable. And I know I can speak not only for our organization, but I'm sure the many other organizations that you all provide leadership for. So from the PeADD staff, we say thank you for that. I also want to just say a special word of thanks to those board members who will be rotating off at the end of this month. Your leadership will definitely be missed here within our organization. And then finally, Mr. Chairman, I just want to remind everyone to take a look at our newsletter and the NATO news that we send out each Friday. Lots of good information in both of those publications. And then a specific reminder for our executive committee members. We'll be meeting here at our office on Wednesday, June the 23rd at 12 noon to go over our FY 22 budget. So please, to our executive committee members, go ahead, put that on your calendar. As I've already mentioned, this is our last fully virtual meeting. We will be back in our boardroom, which I'm extremely excited about for our July meeting. We'll be returning back to our normal times with lunch at 11 a.m. followed by the meeting at noon. So we definitely look forward to seeing everyone's smiling faces in July. So, Mr. Chairman, that's all I have, unless anyone has any questions.
Anyone have any other business to bring before the board? Hearing none, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So made, Jan Yance.
Thank you, Mayor. Do I have a second? Mr. Barker?
Second.
All right, thank you, Mr. Frazier. All in agreement signify by signing off. Thank you all.
Thank you all for joining us today. You all have a good afternoon.